The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Hello, welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Monday.
And it's holiday week. It's Christmas
Holiday week. Oh, happy days are here again.
Yep, and the craziness is already starting. So, just so that people are aware, I wanted to bring very rapidly to their attention, there is a lottery going on for veterans. I think this is important. There's a house lottery, and it's called People Improving Communities and Neighborhoods, PICAN, and they're having a lottery on the 37 Chicago Street property. It's a single-family home. They have to complete and submit a 37th Street application. It's to determine if the applicant qualifies. Applicants and their families must have no financial interest in the development. Applicants must occupy the unit as their primary residence, cannot own any other real estate, cannot have a home within 3 years preceding the application. Mortgage pre-approval letter showing a fixed interest rate, strict income limitations and strict access limitations, and complete a signed application. This is being done through the Community Development Agency and PICAN. They can get information by getting a hold of PICAN. Attention Pamela O'Neill at 4 South Main Street, Fall River, Massachusetts. Applications must be filed by February 15th, 2016. So if you're a veteran, this might be something you might be interested in doing. I guess the income requirements are a little different than they are for everyone else doing the good old continuous public financing type of situation. You must have a valid DD-214 showing an honorable discharge. And I think it's a good thing. I mean, the house is just about completed, or is completed. I saw it during its initial construction. So, again, we're giving something back to our veterans who've worked long and hard for this country and for our community. So, you know, that's a positive thing.
Can't give enough back to the veterans.
No, you can't.
I know when they came out of World War II, they offered all the veterans a house lot for $1. So,
yeah.
So you know it's a good. So if you qualify, by all means, you know, throw your name in. You know, I mean, you know, take advantage of it. They do far too little for veterans, so take advantage of it.
I agree, and. You know, I love the fact that we get our tips all the time. They're now even coming into the studio office. So I had to laugh a little bit about that. But we did follow up. Somebody called in asking us to follow up on the City Council-elect Stephen Camara's foreclosure proceedings. And if you haven't read it or you don't read it, every Sunday around 9 p.m., we come out with what we call the Weekend Flush. I've gotten numerous requests to change it for next year, the title, so I'm developing a new title for it. But this one was really, for the holiday season, it was really kind of slamming it back home. But then again, they always do. I had to give the laugh because everyone says it's infectious. But we did look into it, and you know, Stephen Camara is currently in foreclosure. The case has been filed in the Taunton Superior Court. Some people are making a big stink on why in Taunton, why not in Fall River? Criminal is in Fall River, Taunton is civil. So what's happened is he got what's called a home loan under the Community Development Act and the Community Development Agency. And what happens is that he's required to do annual filings because he has to meet certain income requirements of his tenants. And I guess he's missed those filings. Any requests for information are being referred to Mark Levin, Corporate Counsel for the Community Development Agency. but the court has imposed a January 11th deadline for him to meet the requirements to lift the default. Marc Dion did say that, they don't want to own the property, but they have to be compliant. Everyone's looking at everybody, and you know this for a fact, because guess what? Spindle City Straight Talk looks at everything and every agency. We don't care who they are.
Well, positivity, 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 that's what we need.
Oh, please, I heard the ad today from the three of them, the three amigos, Oh, this is we've done so much for Fall River. This was positive for Fall River. If I heard it one more time, I was going to be nauseous.
Yeah, well, they've succeeded, because the big news of the weekend was that the state released the new figures, and Fall River now is number 1 if we look at the incomes upside down, because Fall River is 351st out of 351 cities and towns for household incomes. So we have now beat Lawrence, and those I guess we're going to have to call the feds and have them change I normally use the Housing and Urban Development federal statistics, but they're not updated as often. But according to our own state, we are the poorest city in Massachusetts. So great job, Office of Economic Development. Great job, Chamber of Commerce. Great job, state reps. You're a walking contradiction. You tell us how good things are, and then we look at the statistics, and then we're called negative. And I have to say, let's face it, people. This is not negativity. It's reality. You have to put things. If you want to fix something, you have to be realistic. This is not Wonderland. We're not looking through the looking glass. This isn't Oz. This is reality. And in order to fix something, you have to first acknowledge you have some issues. How can the Chamber of Commerce continue to go in and ask a community that has the lowest income in the state to pay more taxes and think that that's going to help businesses? The reason we don't have businesses, as we've said time and time again, is that nobody has any money. You can't run a business if nobody can buy your product and utilize your product. We hear from the state reps that business is booming. Well, yeah, business may be booming for the business owners. They've got low-wage help. They've got TIFs. They don't pay taxes. And they take their money and go out of town, because virtually none of them live in the community. Is that negative? No, it's a reality. It's a fact. And we can't ignore facts. It's got nothing to do with positive or negative. The reality is, if you're a dwarf, if you truly begin to try to make yourself believe you have a career in the National Basketball Association, you're probably going to be disappointed, because there aren't too many 3-foot basketball players in the NBA. So, that's not being negative. That's just being realistic. So you reassess and try to get, you try to look at a goal that's achievable. You try to look at something that you can actually accomplish. The reason Fall River continues to stay in this malaise is that we have a bunch of people that, I don't know, maybe they should give them all urine tests. I don't know what they're smoking or drinking, because all we hear from our state delegation, from our city councilors, is let's all work together. Let's all hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and everything's going to be wonderful. Well, you can't wish your way to prosperity. You can't wish your way to fixing a problem if you ignore it. So let's face the harsh and stark reality. Fall River has now become not the second worst, but the worst city in the Commonwealth for income. How in the hell do you think we're going to attract businesses? Do you think that businesses that make money, who actually look at bottom lines and reality, look at a state like Massachusetts and say, well, where are we going to go? Newton, that has the highest income in the state? No, let's go to Fall River, where nobody has any money. They're the poorest city in the state. Let's go there and sell our product, because we'll have a great market there. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And let's see if our new city council and our new mayor begin to run this city with a dose of reality. Because if I hear one more of them saying, oh, you know, things are getting better, we're doing well we're not. No, we don't give the taxpayer and the citizens a break, and we don't look at realistically. We talked about the mattress. We talked about the mattresses and the grants, and by the way, they were erroneous, as CJ said. They don't get any money. They basically get it done for free. And then I've been told by another source that we have an entire building full of mattresses. So what have we been doing? Collecting the $20 fee and not getting rid of the mattresses? Were we waiting for this grant? We're not going to see a moratorium on the fee because it's not going to cost them anything to get rid of mattresses. Heaven forbid the taxpayer get a break. But no, we just keep gouging the money. We'll keep getting the fee, although the city council, led by Linda Pereira, said that we have to raise the fee because it costs $17 to get rid of these things. And so now when it costs $0, why do we have to be charged? Why isn't there a moratorium on it? Why isn't there a temporary cessation of the fee? Why? Because we need every single dime to pay high-paid administrators and all the new jobs we create in government. So let's see what happens. We're on the verge, we're on the cusp of a new year, a brave new world. And let's see how brave these city councilors truly are. And I know CJ's getting a lot of flack. They're saying that he's condemning them before they get in. And, you know, well, that can be their perspective. CJ can speak to that himself. However, I've said, look, I'm not really optimistic with what I see, because sometimes, you know, if you pay attention, they'll tip their hand before they get there. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to see them in office, and let's see what they do. Let's see what they do. Let's see if they begin to take the bull by the horns, begin to demand that government gets smaller and money is spent with priorities on services. And let's see if they, in fact, stop singing this nauseating song. You know, I mean, I'm going crazy listening to Christmas carols. You don't hear anything but Christmas carols from the day after Thanksgiving till after Christmas. You know, if I hear White Christmas again, I might dive in front of a bus.
Well,
but
for a little relief from that, we've got the Marc Dion Christmas column here.
there we go.
And I'm telling you now, I got to quote a line out of this to coincide what you're saying. This is at the end of Mark's little ditty about "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," and as you get towards the end, in this little ditty, he talks about some noise, obviously on the lawn, and it was Sam Sutter, and Sam says, "Throw down a Tensky," he said with a smile. "If you do, I promise I'll be gone for a while." I opened my wallet, I threw down the dough. He grabbed it and snickered and said, "Ho, ho, ho. Your wallet is empty, your thin hair is graying, but you're still alive, so you'll go on paying trash fees and rain fees, and of course purple bags, parking tickets and taxes, though you're dressed in rags. Will, me or Jazel, it doesn't matter who. You make it, we take it. It's just what we do." How true. You know, Mark's Christmas carols are very enlightening for some people. I mean, we've been saying this all along. But, you know, when you start looking at this, he also calls out the election itself. And in his bitty about counting, rocking around the Christmas tree, which is he says, "Counting the votes for recallers, was it 10 or was it 6? They all ran, they all lost. Now they're all say it's a fix." I mean, this has got to be funny. No one should have finished above me. That's what they say. And you know what's the truth? Because the recall, while it was a very strong and powerful effort and made a significant change in Fall River, because the people could not put their personal attitude and their personal opinion aside, they ruined a political organization that could have continued to make significant change. And you have to sort yourself out of the entire attack force that they had and keep yourself separate, which wasn't always easy for a lot of people. I just think the best out of all of his was his "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear." Elected on a midnight clear, Jazel said these words: "I'll fix your problems effortlessly because I'm an entrepreneur. No one knows what my business is or how much cash I make. I drive a leased Mercedes, but that don't mean I'm fake." I'm telling you, Marc is great with some of these.
He's good. No, he is a writer, and this profession, and he is a wordsmith.
Yeah.
He does very well, and I do like the end of that when he talks about the purple bags and the parking tickets, and at the end, and as I heard him exclaim as he drove out of view, "Mayors come and go, but you'll always get screwed." And boy, if that's not a fact, and if one thing we have to learn, and you should always learn, because you should always reassess things, whether you're successful. See, that's one of the errors people make. They think if they're successful, there's no reason to look to see if there's a way to do it better. But you have to learn from even your victories. You don't learn as much from your losses as from your losses, because your losses highlight your weaknesses. But sometimes you can be victorious, but the victory, you have to look at why you were victorious. And sometimes, you can win because the other guy was just worse than you. And sometimes you can win because you're better than that person, if it's athletics. But when it comes to something like a recall, I think we had a lot of people, and I think this is a reality. It's not an excuse by any means of trying to explain things away. But I think a lot of these people, and I think kudos to them, it's the first time they've ever been involved in politics. And I think what they have to learn from this, and hopefully what they will learn from this after this last election, is that when you have a successful political movement, it takes many, many facets of the community. One group cannot be successful in that kind of arena. You have to be able to galvanize people together for a cause. And you have to remember that. Don't give yourself, and don't think that, even though you did a lot of work, which everybody in a recall did. They got the signatures, they worked their butt off. But what made the recall successful was that the rest of the people in the community began to believe in what we were trying to do. They began to listen to and look at the record, and began to be upset for various different reasons. And then they came together as a group to vote out somebody. But then a lot of these people began to try to make it, a small piece and a small group, and feel that group really wielded a lot of power. Well, no single group can be powerful enough, because the fact is, united we stand, divided we fall. The fact is that when we have a war, people are drafted from the farms, from the cities. They go into the military. They have a common cause. They're fighting for their country. And some of them become very close friends. And then when they leave, they go back to the farm and back to the city, and they virtually have nothing in common in civilian life. But they had a cause. Just as when the Shiites, the Sunnis, and the Kurds all got together to fight us because we were not Muslims, we were Christians. This is the thing. There has to be a common cause. And what you have to understand in politics is that in order to be successful in changing government, we only have to agree on one thing, and that's that the government isn't working for us. And then we can all come together. And we have to realize that when it's over, we can all go our separate ways with no acrimony, or they're not going to be your friends forever. There are people that are completely different, have different likes and dislikes, music, whatever. But the fact is, what makes anything successful, and will make this city successful, is when everybody can understand that nobody holds the reins on getting something done. The recall was successful because, yes, there were a group of people who put it together and worked their butts off to get the election in place. But what won the election were thousands of people who had nothing to do with the formulation and going to court and all the process. But what they did was they believed in the message. They believed we needed to change government. And that's what we have to do. Rather than throwing hand grenades at each other, just realize that we can agree on some things and disagree on other things. But when there's a commonality of the people, that's when we can change things. That's what happened in this nation. The people in the South and the people in the North had divergent opinions. People within New England had divergent opinions. They were different religious groups, they were different ethnic groups, but they all came together to create a new nation. And they fought side by side for that nation. And when that was done, they all went back their separate ways, realizing that, as it says in our Declaration of Independence, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for a people to dissolve the bonds with another government and create a new government, this is the key. And, we talk a lot about positivity and negativity, but that's reality. The reality is, listen, we give you the information, we give you our opinion, we try to provide you, we encourage you to learn more about the subject. But remember one thing, the old Middle Eastern adage, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And our enemy is bad government. So even though you're not technically your friend, when we can agree on the fact that government isn't acting in our best interest, we can change it together. And Marc Munroe was right. There are people who thought that they were automatically going to be a powerhouse because of the recall. And the thing is, you need a cause. You need a common cause. We have to agree. The reason we can't get certain people out of the city council is people judge their efforts on their personality, not their performance. So if we can begin to remember why the recall was successful, and it wasn't just the purple bags. It was the rainwater fee. It was a whole bunch of things. The midnight ride down at the waterfront, and all the other things, and later on the 22 windows and all these things. The bottom line was a whole bunch of people were not happy with something that government did. And collectively, it meant that the majority of people are not happy, and we're seeing it in the country today, which is the reason for Donald Trump's popularity. So with that, I have to get that done because frankly, I am so tired of listening to this. Well, positivity. Well, it's nice to be positive, but when it comes to government and when it comes to our pocketbook, just like you have to be in your house, you have to be a realist. If you got $5 in your pocket, you're not buying a $25 filet mignon. Sorry,
true.
That's it.
That's true.
Case
and you
closed.
know what? Anyone can spin anything they want around. As you said, wordsmiths are wonderful. But positivity isn't always a good thing. Because remember, if you go to the doctor's office, you have a TB test, and it comes back positive, you're not going to be saying that's a good thing.
Yeah.
If you go to the public health clinic and they say, hey, you got the clap.
Oh, clap.
They're not going to say it's a good thing.
Unless it's the clap on, clap off.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it's one of the situations that we got to look at. We're not always being negative. We're being factual, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
And real quick, on some of that, because I am always, regardless of the situation, I will give them an opportunity to come out and fail or succeed on their own merits. But when the mayor-elect comes out and speaks on his reasons for not wanting to keep Meg Mayo Brown, he confirmed that he did have the conversation with her. He never said pack your bags and go, but he said the ball's in your court. But, Meg Mayo Brown saw the writing on the wall. You had 4 school committee members, 2 new, 2 existing, that were coming on board because their contract didn't get approved in December, that don't want her, that don't like her. So that's a 4-2 split with the mayor's vote really not making a change, because it's 4 against, 2 for, and then even if the mayor voted for, you'd still have a 4-3, so you're out of luck. So she saw the writing on the wall. The ball was in her court. She played it. But he turned around and he said, one of the reasons why, because the health fund wasn't subsidized. There's a deficit in it. How many times do you have to tell a politician, don't open your mouth if you don't know the facts? Keep your mouth shut. Old saying, it is better to keep your mouth shut than to open it and remove all doubt of you being a fool. So when you open your mouth and you start talking about things and you don't have the facts behind it, you've got to be sure that you're going to take the heat, because you are going to take the heat. Because there is no deficit. Okay? Chip has gone over it 100 times. I've read the documents. I've looked them over. There is no deficit. All they have on their budget line item is the cost for that healthcare plan. They're a group. That means that one way or the other, the bill gets paid. They're just using the numbers to spew the propaganda. And it's not lie, it is a fact, but it's a misrepresented fact. And there's a big difference in a fact and a misrepresented fact.
Yeah, it's a half fact, because the reality is, listen, we are a self-insurer. We pay the bills as they come in, so there's always a drastic fluctuation. And if you take a piece of a pie and judge that piece of pie individually, it's not going to be an accurate representation. You can't make a budget for just that one piece. You have to look at the group, because that's the way the thing is paid, and the stabilization of premiums that I explained. Look, you can't make an actuarial projection of a part of a whole. The actuarial projection will be off. If you say, I want you to take just the school department and set their premiums would be excessively high, because you're taking their experience out of the part where it's running lower, which would stabilize the premium. Look, we're the only school system that tried this. They wanted to play around with money. They wanted to play around with numbers. That's the problem with Fall River. Listen, the reality is this healthcare system for all the city employees is a group. It's been running under budget for years. The past 5 fiscal years, the city has realized $15 million in savings because of the cost shift. And for any politician, outgoing or incoming, to characterize something by taking something totally out of context, it's like picking a sentence out of a paragraph. They're not respecting the public. They're attempting to muddy the water with half-truths and half-facts, and it's wrong. Again, this is not the way to run a government. It's like saying Fall River is doing well and we're attracting businesses, when we're the last city in the state. We have achieved 351st out of 351. If somebody declares, a piece of the bridge secedes from Fall River, and says that is a new town, we may be 352nd. I don't know. So to say we're doing well is not accurate. And the only way things are going to do well is if we start looking at this city through clear lenses, not rose-colored glasses.
Oh, come on. I like the rose-colored glasses.
Yeah, and I don't care if it is Christmas time. Fall River deserves a lump of coal, so stay angry.
Hey, if nothing else, they can burn it.
I mean, let me clarify. Fall River politicians deserve giant lumps of coal.
Yep, and they can use that for heating. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you Wednesday. You have a great week, and remember, stay angry and hold them accountable.
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.